I said to Lauren, we should really just go stand in front of Old Main. And so she said, sure. And I said, how's Friday? And she said, sure. So that's basically how it started. I mean, the response has been, to use a cliche, overwhelming and heartening and energizing, and we have a lot of hope that these are the same people who will come out next week and the next week and the next week and keep putting pressure on this administration.
It's not a sacrifice if the weather is beautiful and everybody's schedules are clear and everything falls into place. Like the fact that we will be standing out here with snow blowing in our faces and the wind messing up our hair, I think that's a sacrifice.
Exactly. We've been saying that it's really twofold. It's in support of victims, and it's also calling on administration to take a stronger stance.
I mean, I feel like as a student on this campus, we don't support victims when they come forward. We don't create a culture where they feel like they're comfortable coming forward.
I'm a survivor of sexual assault, so having everything going on campus as far as the timely warnings every week and everything like that, and then having the KDR scandal break, it kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I felt the need to come out and support any movement for change. Whenever I hear people say things like boys will be boys, or the girls were asking for it, or you need to respect yourself in order to deserve respect, I want to ask how many people they've raped, because that's the kind of thing that rapists say.
I find that when I talk to women who have experienced sexual assault, I find that they are angry, and that they're afraid to say that they're angry because they're too preoccupied with emotions like shame, with emotions like worry, and I find that anger can be very healing. And I think that it functions the same way on a communal level, and I feel like we need to be angry. There is no room anymore for us to be ashamed of this, and there is no room anymore for us to not do something. This is actually somewhere where we can say, very unfortunately, that the fraternity brother who tried to defend his position was actually right. KDR is not the first fraternity to do this. They will not be the last fraternity to do this. And when we pretend that this is a surprise, what we're really only surprised about is that they were stupid enough to get caught. I do think it's really important that we stop being shocked. I'm really angry when people say that they're shocked about these events. When people say that they are shocked about rape culture on campus, it really indicates to me that they have not been paying attention. Because women work very, very hard. Women sacrifice a lot to make their voices and their experiences heard. And when women work that hard to make their experiences heard, you damn well should listen. So it makes me very frustrated when people continue to say that they're shocked when we live in a world that so clearly does this all the time. I consider this part of my responsibility as a citizen and as a female. We owe this as educators to the women who come to our campuses to learn. We owe this as women to support one another in our efforts to learn. And we owe this as citizens to make sure that people balance due process of law with the rights of people to remain safe. This is larger than KDR because it's as large as Penn State's campus, but it is also as large as the continued sexism and rape culture that makes women unable to succeed in the world as much as men.
There's no reason that women should not be allowed to drink and get wasted the same way that men do on this campus every weekend without fear of being assaulted. So whenever I hear people defending those kinds of actions, it just makes me think, well, what personal stake do you have in this?
I came for the broader issue. Of course, what happened at KDR is reprehensible and deeply disturbing on a lot of levels. But one of the reasons I find it so disturbing is, in fact, because I think it is evidence of a much bigger problem. I think there is a cultural problem at Penn State. Penn State has a culture problem. It might be the same cultural problem that exists at universities across the country, but that doesn't excuse it. And so we need to contend with it as a community. And as a community member, I'm here to say that I want to be a part of that. I think the next step is for survivors to know they're not alone and to feel supported, and hopefully to be feeling comfortable enough to come tell their stories to those who are going to be able to provide them the support and the advice they need to navigate this very complicated and difficult part of their college experience. So I'm hoping that the demonstrations can be a sign for all of the survivors of sexual assault to speak openly with those they trust about what they've experienced, and perhaps that can be a step in the path to healing. I want to qualify that, there is not enough information yet to know exactly what happened at KDR. But what we do know is that young men felt comfortable enough posting images of women in partial states of undress and unconscious that they felt that that was an acceptable thing to do. Speaks volumes about what is going on this campus. And I think that though a lot of focus has been paid to what will happen to those particular individuals who were actively engaged in that Facebook page, I think we have to also hold accountable a larger culture at the institution that made it something that these men actually felt they could do and get away with.
To
Are
deliver.
you planning on continuing to do weekly demonstrations?
Yeah, I mean, we're working in relationship with Triota and the Student Progressive Coalition here on campus. So many organizations.
Center County Women's Resource
Exactly,
Center.
yes.
We have a lot of organizations on board. So, and all of them have expressed a willingness and a desire to continue coming out on this issue.